We've seen countless iterations of the web crawler over the years, from animation to video games and, most importantly, live action. But before the big-budget blockbusters of the 21st century, the very first one to ever put on the tights was the series that kicked it all off. The 1977 The Amazing Spider-Man series. The inaugural live-action appearance started with a pilot film simply titled Spider-Man, which aired on the CBS network. It starred Nicholas Hammond as the wall-crawling hero. This pilot marked Spidey's first major debut on the global movie stage, and it was a hit, leading to a series split into 2 seasons and spanning 13 episodes. Nicholas Hammond absolutely nailed the quintessential, quirky, earnest Peter Parker, the goofy boy across the street. However, the show's Spider-Man persona drew some complaints from fans. The main bulk of the criticism was Peter's distinct lack of quips. He's the guy who pretty much invented quipping as a superpower, and yet he wasn't that active with the jokes. Beyond that, fans also noted a distinct lack of classic villains. You weren't getting the Sinister Six, no Doc Ock, no Venom, but you did get an original new character, Guru. The pilot followed the standard origin, radioactive spider bite, you know the rest. But with one massive omission. It was the only Spidey movie to never introduce Uncle Ben, despite having Aunt May. The movie centered on Guru threatening to use hypnosis to make 10 New Yorkers commit suicide, with Peter being one of them. With his classic iron will, though, he managed to break out. The story was cliché, but the film was highly regarded for its seriously dangerous stunt work, which took over 2 days to film and required extensive rigging. It also stands as the only film ever to showcase the spider trackers in action. All in all, it was a film packed with charm that gave the Spider-Man IP the vital kick it needed for the big stage. Kos Kayama Supai Now. Buckle up, because this one gets a bit bizarre, even for Spider-Man. For our next iteration, we're not even in New York. We're talking about the streets of Japan. That's right. Kos Kayama's Japanese Spider-Man became a huge pop culture sensation known as Takuya Yamashiro. This version got famous for 2 unique things. First, he was just different. Takuya was a motocross driver, the son of a renowned astrophysicist, who also happened to be his world's Spider-Man, and he had a sister and a girlfriend. This is clearly not the typical Peter Parker origin story. His powers came differently too. An alien, imprisoned on Earth by the big bad, Professor Monster, communicated with Takuya telepathically. Ignoring it at first, his sister and girlfriend eventually urge him to check out the crash site of the alien's ship, the Leopardon. Takuya caves in, only to find his dad beaten and dying at the hands of Monster's henchmen, Bukunu. Shocked and attacked by the Iron Cross army, Takuya falls into Garya's cave, where he's given the spider bracelet and the spider extract, and that's how he gets his power. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, arguably one of the most iconic casting choices and live-action versions of the hero. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man sits comfortably in the Superhero Hall of Fame, spanning 3 movies starting in 2002, with a star-studded cast like William Dafoe, James Franco, and Kirsten Dunst. It made an indelible mark on the superhero genre. While the plots are likely burned into your memory, what you might not know is the 25-year-long legal struggle that went into making the film happen. It wasn't until Colia Pictures, the studio behind the 77 series, gave the green light in 1999 for a worldwide release that the movie could finally move forward. With Sam Raimi directing and David Coep on the screenplay, the gears started turning, and boy, did they turn. The movie shattered records, $826 million at the box office, the first movie to reach $100 million in one weekend, and the highest-grossing superhero film of its time. From the moment Peter first put on that makeshift mask to the final scene, this was a superhero you genuinely looked up to, The Amazing Spider-Man. Following the cancellation of a planned Spider-Man 4 in 2010, we got a reboot, The Amazing Spider-Man, directed by Mark Webb and starring Andrew Garfield as the web-slinger, alongside Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. This series was one of the few to actually touch on Peter's parents, which made it stand out, but the rest of the plot was fairly straightforward. Dr. Connors lizarding out through the sewers of New York. The film highlights a unique angle on the great power comes great responsibility theme. It's not just about powers, but about responsibility in his intellectual life. Peter technically helped Connors finish his research by solving the algorithm that stopped the lizard-based regeneration from working, using his parents' research paper. He was too trusting with his parents' life work. Fan takes on this film were controversial. Half hated it, claiming Andrew wasn't nerdy enough. The other half thought he was the only one who did Spider-Man right. Critics felt it was too suffocated with plot lines that could have been their own films. though many fans agreed that Garfield and Stone pretty much carried the movie. Spider-Man in the MCU, speaking of No Way Home, while the Andrew Garfield films were playing out, Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal of Sony were discussing including Spider-Man in the MCU. This led to the licensing agreement announced in 2015. While there were initial troubles, fan outrage was so strong that they settled on a deal. And the rest, as they say, is history. Tom Holland's first canon appearance in the MCU was in Captain America: Civil War. The Russos, the film's directors, said they had no plan B and envisioned the film specifically with Spidey. His brief stunt in Civil War fed fans for years. But it wasn't until Homecoming and the two movies after that we got a real taste of Spider-Man in the MCU. The movies were solid. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is now defined by the multiverse, but not every character understands this reality the same way. We're breaking down the full hierarchy of awareness, from the heroes fighting street crime to the cosmic beings who literally are existence level 1, unaware of the multiverse. At the base of this hierarchy are the characters who simply don't know the multiverse exists. They're locked into a single reality, fighting the battles right in front of them. Their entire worldview is bound by the idea that their universe is the only universe. Take Daredevil, for example. Matt Murdock is one of Marvel's most grounded characters. A blind lawyer, moonlighting as the vigilante protector of Hell's Kitchen. His entire story revolves around gritty, street-level conflicts, gangs, corrupt businessmen, and assassins. The idea of infinite timelines or dimensional planes isn't even on his radar. This ignorance doesn't make him less heroic. It makes him relatable. The same goes for Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. They have superhuman strength and invincibility, but their conflicts remain intensely personal, fighting drug lords, abusive partners, and private investigations. For them, talk of alternate dimensions would sound as strange as an urban legend. Even skilled agents like Yelena Belova in Hawkeye represent this level. She knows about Natasha's sacrifice on Vormir, but cosmic gods and infinity stones are just distant stories. Level 1 characters ground the Marvel Universe, reminding us of the personal struggles of heroes who are blissfully unaware that their reality is only a fraction of the full picture. Level 2, aware of the multiverse but can't access it. Here, we shift from complete ignorance to something more interesting: awareness without access. These are characters who know about the multiverse, perhaps through science, ancient texts, or high-level intelligence briefings, but they have no means of experiencing it firsthand. They understand the theory, but they remain spectators looking in from the outside. One of the clearest examples is Darcy Lewis. Starting as a political science major, she evolves into an astrophysicist capable of interpreting cosmic data and recognizing anomalies. In WandaVision, Darcy identifies the Westview anomaly as a manipulated pocket reality. She can measure and theorize about these phenomena, but she's powerless to actually travel into alternate universes. Similarly, Agent Jimmy Woo is exposed to reports of magical events and multiversal theories through SWORD and SHIELD intel. Jimmy may know about the multiverse through his investigations, but like Darcy, he can't step into it. He's a handler and a witness, not a traveler. Even someone like Shuri, the brilliant Wakandan scientist, fits here in her earlier appearances. Her genius positioned her perfectly to understand the multiverse, but her science was limited by the scope of Wakandan tech. Level 2 characters are the bridge between the audience and the concept, explaining, theorizing, and commenting on cosmic ideas while remaining firmly planted in their single universe. Level 3, accidental travelers. Here's where things start to get chaotic. Level 3 is about the people who stumble into the multiverse by accident. They don't seek it, they don't train for it, and they certainly don't control it. But somehow, they end up face-to-face with alternate realities. Think of Ned Leeds in Spider-Man: No Way Home. Out of pure curiosity and clumsy experimentation with Doctor Strange's sling ring, Ned accidentally opens a portal, not just to another place, but to other Spider-Men. He's not a sorcerer, and yet he alters the course of reality. Peter Parker himself in that film is another classic case. Peter never set out to break open the multiverse. His intention was simple: to make everyone forget his identity. But his constant interruptions during Strange's spell destabilized it, and suddenly, villains from across the multiverse were crashing into his world. Peter triggered it by accident. Then we have America Chavez. Her powers are inherently multiversal, allowing her to open star-shaped portals to different realities. But for most of her life, these powers activated only under extreme stress. America didn't control her multiversal travel. She survived it. The important part of Level 3 is that it's reactive, not proactive. The multiverse finds them, and when it does, the results are messy, unpredictable, and often dangerous. Level 4, trained manipulators. Now, We've crossed into territory where the multiverse isn't just an accident or a theory, it's a tool. Level 4 characters are trained manipulators. They study, practice, and deliberately harness knowledge of alternate dimensions and realities. They're not stumbling anymore, they're opening portals on command. The clearest example is Doctor Strange. From the moment Stephen becomes a sorcerer, he's taught how reality itself is structured. Strange isn't guessing. He's trained, disciplined, and aware of the rules. He's actively navigating the multiverse, calculating outcomes, and bending rules to protect his reality. Alongside him is Wong, the Sorcerer Supreme, who shows us the responsible side of multiversal manipulation. Wong's very role is to ensure sorcerers use their knowledge wisely. We can also include Sylvie from Loki. As a variant who spent her life hunted by the TVA, her entire worldview is built around intentionally manipulating timelines, setting traps, and outmaneuvering agents. Level 5. Specialists who bend the multiverse. If Level 4 was about discipline and respect for the rules, then Level 5 is about breaking them. These are the characters who don't just use the multiverse, they reshape it, weaponize it, and bend it to their will. They want control, and they'll rip the fabric of reality apart to get it. The most infamous example is Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch. In Multiverse of Madness, Wanda doesn't just travel the multiverse, she invades it. Using the Darkhold, she dreamwalks into alternate versions of herself, hijacking their bodies to achieve her goals. Then, we have Kang the Conqueror and his countless variants. Kang's mastery of time and technology lets him weaponize the multiverse on a scale no mortal sorcerer could dream of. His variants don't just hop timelines, they conquer them, rewriting reality to suit their ambitions. Level 6. Beings who exist beyond the multiverse. At the very top of Marvel's hierarchy are the characters who don't just see or use the multiverse, they exist above it. These are cosmic entities, embodiments of universal concepts, or watchers who perceive every reality at once. For them, the multiverse isn't a mystery. It's a stage they already oversee. One of the clearest examples is the Watcher from What If. Uatu doesn't intervene, but he observes infinite realities simultaneously. He doesn't move through the multiverse. He perceives all of it in parallel. Then, there's Eternity, the living embodiment of existence itself, and his sibling Infinity, who embodies endless space. These beings don't dwell inside the multiverse, they are the multiverse, representing the sum of all life across every possible world. Today, we're smashing through the history of one of Marvel's most powerful and complex characters, the Hulk, and the entire gamma-irradiated family he's created in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. From Bruce Banner's tragic origins to the rise of Smart Hulk and the introduction of She-Hulk and his son, this is the definitive journey of Marvel's gamma-powered superfamily. First, Hulk. The saga begins with Dr. Bruce Banner, an aspiring scientist focused on nuclear physics, biochemistry, and gamma radiation. His expertise earned him a spot in Project Gamma Pulse, a secret U.S. Armed Forces experiment led by General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, whose true goal was to recreate the super soldier serum. Unknowingly making a bioweapon, Bruce chose to test gamma radiation on his own body. This transformed him into the Incredible Hulk. For 5 years, Bruce lived as a fugitive, researching a cure until he was cornered by the army. His hunter, the power-hungry Emil Blonsky, injected himself with Banner's blood, transforming him into the monstrous abomination. Their city-shaking clash in Harlem ended with the Hulk securing his place as a reluctant hero. In the Avengers struggling with his curse, Banner became increasingly frustrated, even trying to commit suicide once, only for the other guy to spit him out. He hid in Kolkata until Natasha Romanoff tracked him down for SHIELD's mission to find the Tesseract. Bruce's fears of hulking out came true during Clint Barton's attack on the helicarrier. It was in the Battle of New York that Bruce began to accept his power, arriving when the Avengers needed him most. With a single, devastating punch, the Hulk pulverized an entire Leviathan. After ragdolling a puny god, he cemented his instrumental role in winning the battle, proving Tony Stark right. We have a Hulk. In Avengers, Age of Ultron, Banner finally caught a brief break living in the Avengers Tower, but it didn't last. Wanda Maximoff soon invaded his mind, causing him to lash out throughout Johannesburg. Her manipulation highlighted the catastrophic risk the Hulk posed, forcing Tony Stark to deploy the specially designed Hulkbuster armor to stop the rampage. Horrified by the danger he represented, Banner went into exile again, piloting a Quinjet into space. In Thor Ragnarok, Banner's Quinjet travels led him to crash land on the planet Sakaar, a violent and barbaric world where the constant stress caused him to remain transformed. This allowed a unique look at his alter ego. The Hulk loved Sakaar. He was a beloved celebrity, speaking in sentences, delivering comebacks, and developing a childlike personality. Thor realized Banner hadn't surfaced in years. It wasn't until he heard Natasha's voice, triggered by Thor's maneuvering of the Quinjet, that Bruce managed to return, completely unaware of his surroundings. After forming a shaky alliance with Thor to save Asgard's people from Hela, Bruce chose to stay with the Asgardians on the Statesman. Soon after, the ship was intercepted by Thanos, who delivered a crushing defeat to the Hulk, which shattered his confidence and caused Bruce to lose access to his other half, Smart Hulk. After Thanos' snap, Banner went into determined exile and, with the help of Tony Stark, worked on a way to fuse his mind with the Hulk's body. This resulted in the Smart Hulk, who was crucial in Avengers Endgame. He helped the team navigate the quantum realm for the time heist. It was revealed that Bruce has a latent gene that allows him to survive intense gamma radiation, which is why he was able to wield the nano-gauntlet. In one powerful snap, Hulk reversed the snap, though almost at the cost of his arm. This was the most versatile Hulk, an asset in the final battle who combined his smarts and brawn. Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk. By 2024, Bruce had created the Hulk inhibitor device to maintain his human form. On a road trip with his cousin, Jennifer Walters, a Sakaran ship crash-landed, damaging the inhibitor. As Jennifer dragged his bleeding body, Bruce's gamma-infused blood mixed with hers through an open wound, transforming her into She-Hulk. Bruce discovered that his latent gene extended to Jennifer, allowing her to control the shift almost immediately, without an alter ego. Despite his encouragement, Jennifer had zero interest in being a superhero, preferring her life as a lawyer. Her public transformation, to save a jury from Titania, cost her a job, but she was quickly hired as the head of the Superhuman Law Division at GLK&H. Her new career brought strange cases, including representing a reformed Emil Blonsky, Abomination, litigating against a light elf, and working with Matt Murdock, Daredevil, who she eventually dated. She-Hulk took control of her new life, becoming a beloved figure in both the courtroom and the streets. Scar, son of Hulk. Jennifer's life found a brief moment of normalcy before Bruce showed up with a massive surprise. His son, Scar. Bruce revealed that he had become a father on Sakaar. Due to time flowing differently on the planet, Scar was now a full-fledged adolescent with powers matching his father. Scar represents a massive development in the Hulk family canon, as he was the first Hulk to be born, not made through an experiment or an accident. That wraps up the incredible journey of the Hulk and his family in the Marvel canon. Each character's experience with gamma radiation reveals and challenges different parts of them, cementing the Hulk family as one of Marvel's most fascinating superfamilies. You think the MCU is just one reality? Think again. Beneath the sacred timeline of Earth 616 lurks an army of dead universes, pruned heroes, and dark versions of your favorite characters, and they're all crashing into each other. Earth 616, the MCU. We kicked it off with the first Iron Man in 2008, and from there, it led into the Infinity and Multiverse sagas. You might have heard this universe referred to as Earth 19,999, a name that goes back to an official Marvel handbook. However, in 2023, the Marvel Cinematic Universe officially changed its main timeline name to Earth 616. This name is a direct nod to the comics, where 616 is the prime universe, reflecting the MCU's status as the sacred timeline, a concept central to Loki. The TVA protects this timeline to prevent He Who Remains from having multiversal variants of himself born. A timeline branch, or a new universe, is created by a Nexus event. The time heist in Avengers Endgame was a massive Nexus event, resulting in branches like the one where Loki escaped, Thanos bailing on his own timeline, and, of course, Steve Rogers making his own branch to finally have that dance with Peggy Carter. Honestly, out of all the timeline breaks, his is the one you can't really blame, Earth 10.05. This is the home of Fox's X-Men films. This universe was revealed to be slowly collapsing because its anchor being, Wolverine, died in Logan. According to the TVA, without that stabilizing presence, a universe begins to fade. Thanks to Deadpool and Wolverine's efforts, including destroying the Time Ripper device, the timeline is saved from immediate destruction, though it remains one of the messiest timelines Marvel has ever dealt with, full of soft reboots and alternate possibilities. The Void. Speaking of pruning, ever wonder what that really means? Basically, you get dumped into a sad little wasteland at the end of time called the Void. Everything the TVA gets rid of ends up here. It's a dumping ground for pruned Nexus events and variant timelines. We see past films that got axed or concepts that didn't work here, including Chris Evans's Human Torch and the Elektra From the 2003 Daredevil movie, when the TVA prunes someone, they are not erased from existence, but sent here. This place is controlled by Alioth, a massive storm-like creature that feeds on time and energy itself. This is where Loki meets his other variants,